Hi there, my name's Nat Nathan, I'm from the Piccadilly Circus company. I'm back here in the juggling studios in Cornwall to bring you this quick video which is Learn to Juggle in a Day. This video has been designed specifically for people who have tried to learn to juggle before but are still struggling. Good luck. I've been a professional juggler for around 30 years and in that time I've taught hundreds of people to juggle. And I know that this process takes somewhere between 2 and 5 hours to complete. So if you've tried before and you haven't learned in 20 minutes, you're not unusual. It takes rather longer than that. But hey, it's only 2 to 5 hours. It's not even a whole day. And at the end of it, you'll have learned a brilliant life skill. Good luck. Don't try learning to juggle with your socks or with scarves or skipping straight to clubs. Learn with good juggling balls. The balls that you learn to juggle with should be dead drop balls. That's to say, when you drop them on the floor, they don't roll away. The minimum weight for a juggling ball to learn with is about 100 grams. But ideally, find yourself a juggling ball that weighs somewhere between 120 and 140 grams. Find a blank wall or a space where you're not distracted by lots of objects in front of you. There is a huge misconception about juggling that it's the art of catching balls. It isn't. It's the art of throwing balls. And every stage of the process of learning to juggle is actually the art of learning to throw. Try and resist the temptation to jump forward, skip to the next bit. If you do all of these exercises and corrections, you will be a juggler. Every juggler at every level of juggling drops from time to time. And during the learning process, everybody drops most of the time. This first stage will be familiar to anybody that's been to a live juggling class or has watched a juggling training video. Take one ball in your preferred hand with your palms facing the ceiling. You throw a ball through your headspace. That's the space between the top of your head and your chin. That's the box through which you're trying to pass the ball during your throws. If you're struggling with this stage of the process, remember, juggling is about throwing, not about catching. So practice your throws, not your catches. Throw the ball through the headspace, but don't try and catch it. Obviously, you'll need to do it on the other side too. Even during this first exercise, you'll already notice that your weaker hand won't throw as well as your preferred hand. So concentrate particularly on throwing through that headspace with your weaker hand. It might make you feel a bit silly to be throwing balls and not even trying to catch them, but if you do it, you'll find it helps no end. Don't forget to throw it underarm, that's upwards and not wildly across. So up to your headspace, up to your headspace, up to your headspace. So by the end of this stage, you need to be really comfortable with your one ball throws and catches. Don't move on until you can do around 10 throws and catches without dropping. Remember, from both your preferred hand and from your weaker hand too. Okay, see you in section 2. Stage 2 of learning to juggle is the most important. It is definitely the toughest and people struggle with it more than with any other stage. Far more than they struggle with the final stage, the actual 3-ball cascade. If you've tried to juggle before, you'll know what this process looks like. It looks like this. Or from the other side, like this. Do the throwing and not the catching first. So go through this exercise as many times as it takes to make you really comfortable. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. Don't attempt to catch them in any way. Once you've been through the exercise of throwing the balls but not catching them, then try and catch them. Two extra tips here. If you're struggling with this stage, remember that the process is you're throwing one ball up to the top of your head and then you're throwing the other one underneath it. And the way that you're throwing them is exactly the way you threw them in exercise 1. One of the other things people struggle with during this stage is this. They throw one ball over the top, they pass the other one underneath. The reason for this is that at some point they've learnt this, or at least tried to. But that's not juggling, and it will get in your way. So remember, you have to throw this ball and throw that ball and not pass it across the bottom. The exercise to get you out of that habit is the exercise of throwing the balls but not catching them. So do it. Do it as many times as it takes to get the passing the ball across out of your mind. By the end of this section, you need your 2-ball throwing and catching to feel very comfortable. You need to be able to do around 10 throws, and you need to be able to start from your preferred hand as well as your weaker hand. Please resist the temptation to move on to the final and very exciting stage where you become a juggler until you're really comfortable with this. Okay, this is the really exciting bit. You're about to become a juggler. So in this final stage, you will have 2 balls in your preferred hand and 1 ball in your weaker hand. And you're going to throw them in this order. The one towards your fingertips first, the one in your other hand, and then the one in the palm of your hand. So you're going to throw 1, 2, 3. As with the other 2 stages, you first need to learn to throw the balls before you try and catch them. So here's that exercise. I don't want that one, I don't want that one, and I don't want that one. Remember, the balls should now still be within fairly easy reach, and they shouldn't be on the other side of the room or somewhere across the front garden. One of the other issues or problems that people have at this stage is that they do this. They've got 3 balls in their hand, but they've only thrown 2 of them, and they haven't thrown the final ball. Well, there's no big surprise here, because the exercise to cure that problem is throw, throw, throw. Just get used to throwing the 3 balls without the catches. So during this final stage, you might also find yourself involuntarily walking forward. Well, this happens to most people at this stage, and there is a way to cure this. You need to stand in front of something, like a divan bed or a sofa. These are perfect. It will stop you from walking forward, and it will make the balls that you've dropped much easier to retrieve. One of the other things that affects some people some of the time is that they get stuck at 3 throws. So remember, you need at least 4 throws to be a complete juggle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you get stuck at 3, just remember this. It's better to throw the balls and drop most of them and do 4 throws than it is to get stuck with just 3 balls. Congratulations, you made it through. By now you're either a juggler or you're well on your way to becoming one. And if you've achieved nothing else, at least you've now got something you can put in that section of your CV, special interests and hobbies. Don't forget that the more you practice, the better you'll get. And there are lots of places you can go from here. If you check my channel, you'll find videos on learning tricks with balls, on juggling more balls, switching to juggling clubs, all kinds of stuff. So thanks for joining me. I hope I'm going to see you again soon. Happy juggling.